everybody. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday, time for Cello Chat. And with me this week, I'm delighted to have another former student, Elliot Filipiak. How are you doing, Elliot?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. Outstanding. Well, as always, we like to begin by helping people to know the background of the guests. So would you tell about your musical background, what drew you to cello in the first place, and to music in general, and where you went with it?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a very, very musical family. So sort of just immersed in it. My mom was a pianist and accompanist, and my dad plays clarinet and guitar. So that was sort of just expected. I started piano when I was 4 and, did to middle school or whatever, but I picked up cello in 4th grade. And mostly just because of the tone of it. And I don't know, there's always this like intangible reason for instruments. I've talked to my colleagues and there's like, well, it just, my body fitted, or like it just drew me. And I don't really have like a really good reason, but cello was just like, yeah, this is right. Oddly enough, as some of you know, may be watching this, my sister as well chose cello, so maybe it's a family thing. I don't know. But so I chose cello for that reason, for the tone and the music. And so I was also immersed in sort of the church music realm. Grew up in church choirs and that kind of thing, and felt in high school God calling me to be a worship leader. And so now I'm a director of worship at a church in Watertown, where I get to do a variety of musical things. So I sing and play and I lead on Sunday mornings, and I do rehearsals and all that kind of stuff, mostly guitar and bass, but I do play cello every once in a while, and I'm looking forward to integrating that a little bit more in the future. So yeah, that's the snapshot.
Terrific. Well, let's start with that, because with one of the overarching themes of this whole series being inspiration and motivation, for you, it seems music has always been linked to both of those things. So can you, just all along, all that I've known you, for some people, it can be, whether it's a bottom up or a top down thing, that we're doing this nitty gritty stuff, but remind them what the big end game is, or the big picture. And that never was a problem, an issue with you. So can you talk about how you see music as a motivating or inspiring factor, just kind of in general, or how in your role with the church, how you try to help people see the inspiration through music, either of music or of other things through the vehicle of music?
Yeah, I think judging with just talking about my family and first, I think there was a lot of relational connection for me in music. And so there was a lot of like, hey, when we have holidays, we sit down, my mom plays piano and we're doing together. So I think just at a basic level, that's where I start. But I think music to me, I guess part of it, the easy answer is, well, I'm kind of talented at it and I've been surrounded. So like I have skill, and so that's why I play music. But like really behind that is the I just feel like music is a very spiritual thing for me. And I feel like God has given music to us for the purpose of connecting with him and connecting with others. And so I think the beauty of that for me as a Christian is that beautiful things give glory to God. And so I want to continue to make that. And so when I sit down and play a Mendelssohn song without words, the beauty of that makes me want to worship God and makes me want to share that with other people, because I'm like passionate about how beautiful it is. And so I know before the show we were talking about the repertoire, and I think motivating factors for me was finding my niche repertoire. So like finding that like I'm a romantic guy and I don't really care for modern music too much. And so like finding that niche is like, okay, cool. This is like what I'm going back to, the nice melodies and everything. And I can try other stuff and try modern and try Baroque and like, and delve into those things to see if I can connect with that. But sort of the thing that like keeps me wanting to practice is finding those pieces that I'm like, oh yes, this is so good. So yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I knew you like the 19th century style the most, I suppose, but I'd also have to give you credit for having a good game face, because you always came across as, whether it's something by Bach or Haydn or the 20th century stuff we looked at too. The willingness to be open-minded and to try and find the degree to which any given piece of music is the half full part of the glass.
Yeah.
Is there something proactive that you have to make yourself do mentally to try and engage with that music?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I came off a little bit too strong with the romantic. I love romantics, but yeah, I think just I mean, simple openness of like looking at it and going, okay, like, I don't want to just like pigeonhole myself if I can find something else that really does connect with me emotionally and spiritually. And so like I think just like wanting to connect to the music and to God and to people with that together. Maybe that's over spiritualizing it a little bit, but in just a practical terms of like, okay, like I can be okay to play something that I don't like, and I'm not going to know if I like it or not until I play it. And so exploring that, and part of it in college was just like I did have a specific mindset, and so being open to trying new things was kind of part of the environment. And I think that expanded my taste in music, in playing, and as well as just experiencing music and concerts and stuff that I was attending. So I don't know if I really have a specific like thing that I did other than just being like, it's okay for me to not like a piece and to not complete it or not get there. But I think you're right. I think there was a certain aspect of like looking for those little pieces in it that I can connect with. And something that you've always taught really well, I think, is the story of the music. And so, like you've always said, like connecting with the story of the music can help me to communicate that. And I don't know if I ever, always accomplished that nicely, but I really like that concept. So yeah.
Just in part, having your mind be looking for the story is an
Yeah.
cool. But part of what you're also touching on is, I do think you are an open-minded person, which is great, open to new things, because there is a degree to which maybe that willingness to give a style of music, a piece of music, a chance, an honest try, relates to, I think about aspects of just playing the cello in general, this thing that we call habits that can be so ingrained, and we can be blind to just how incredibly ingrained the way we just grab something with our hand or use our shoulder and elbow to accomplish a particular thing with the arm. And I found you were very willing to just stop, you're doing that again, and rethink something. And it's because, I mean, I don't know if you realize the degree, I know you've done some teaching yourself, but the degree to which some people, it doesn't have to be that they're consciously, that they have a chip on their shoulder and think, well, this has been good enough for me, I'm not going to change. But just subconsciously, they think they already, yes, I know how to grab a piece of wood that's about that long and weighs that much, or, you know what I mean? So there's something about your willingness to approach something a different way as well. I wonder, for example, when you when you expand to different instruments, bass or guitar, do you find that there's something attitudinal about the way that you teach yourself new things that also involves open-mindedness?
Yeah, I think the same thing is true of just like having the willingness to dive into something. So I mean, with guitar, it's not always more technical, because a lot of it is just sort of chord patterns. But with like all of the instruments and the gear and the pedals and that kind of stuff, like having the willingness to be like, all right, I don't really know how this person's getting that sound. So like, how do I like use what I have to dig deeper into that? And then you learn, and then you watch YouTube videos and you talk to people. And so then there's that, like, I guess it's kind of like the search is also part of the fun, because it's you are digging into something really deeply and going, okay, like oh, that's how you get that sound, and then trying to get there. And sometimes that can be frustrating because you get to a point where like, I can't do this. I really want to do this way, and I can't figure it out. So I think that in cello playing can be a reason why people don't get there, is because they're just like, oh, it's not working. And I'm totally guilty of that. Like I've, keep doing stuff of like my hands are large, but my pinky curls in. So then I don't get extensions long enough. I'm just like, come on. Um, but yeah, I think I do find a little bit of fun in that kind of in the investigation, partially because I'm a lifelong learner. And so a lot of it is like, I just like learning new things. And so being able to investigate something and research down into it, is really satisfying for me.
Yeah, I think that was key. Knowing, for example, that you are a lifelong learner and embracing that, because that can be another habit of thought. Sometimes people can close the door on, okay, that was that. But no. There's always room for improvement in all areas. And if you have the mental awareness of that and the curiosity and willingness to keep moving everything forward, that's a big component. So then, and I think that can be a great antidote for the times that we can find ourselves frustrated, like you mentioning your fourth finger. But then all right, well, I'm not just gonna put up with the fact that my fourth finger is flat in these hand shapes. I'm gonna try a different position of the other components or something. Right. Always look for something, a new way to improve. I like that. And then I want to see also about your upcoming projects and performances for 2022. What do you have in the hopper?
I mean, I'm just settling in my new job now, so I'm kind of seeking out some opportunities. I may have a few solo concerts here at the church in Watertown. So that's River Valley Alliance Church. I haven't, though those are, again, and this is only a few weeks in, so these are sort of just ideas out in the ether, but and I am looking into joining an ensemble in the area in Economwalk. So, but that again has not been settled either. So really, I don't have anything on the calendar yet, but I will be out there at some point. So, but if you want to come visit, I'm playing guitar and singing every Sunday. So, yeah.
Terrific. And that's got to be, I mean, we all hear people talk about finding a job that you want to do, a career that you want to do. And I know that you also know how incredibly rewarding it can be when, as part of your job, I'm sure it happens every single Sunday, when, I mean, and it's not just the music, of course, but the way that the music, there are just so many things, whether it's a movie or just certain things in life where if the music were taken out of it, the entirety of the effect is just not quite the same. And you get to see that as part of your job on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that's part of the beauty that I find in God giving us music is like the communication of ideas is very and emotions. I mean, for sure, but like me believing that God has given us music. It is a very interesting communication tool, and I think when you just I mean, you sit down and talk to somebody, or you hear a lecture, you hear a sermon, like that's all like that's great, and that's one form of communication. But like being able to communicate something musically, emotionally, and with your mind is something that sticks with me differently. And I mean, like, how many times have you heard a song and woke up in the middle of the night and just been like, why is that going through my head? Haven't listened to that for months. Like that kind of thing, it just sticks in you. And so being able to do that collectively as a community is really good for me. And it's just really beautiful. And I like connecting in that way. So
Yeah, it's magical. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Elliot. It's always a pleasure talking with you. And I also want to thank our sponsors for the whole month, our MSR Classics. They carry my CDs and many others. So you'll want to check them out at msrcd.com for their whole catalog. And otherwise, everybody have a wonderful full weekend of practicing, productive practicing, and we'll see you all next Friday, same time. Take care.